Some people are born into money, others are born with talent. I got the talent, my cousin Vanessa got the money, and for years we seemed like the perfect team. It all started in my cramped studio apartment. I was 24, broke, and sitting on the best business idea I'd ever had. I called it Elevate Marketing. A revolutionary approach to marketing through authentic storytelling that could change the entire industry. Vanessa drove over from her fancy Capitol Hill condo, the one her parents bought her straight out of college, in her designer jeans, expensive bag, and the kind of confidence that comes from never worrying about rent. She loved my portfolio. "This could actually work, Rachel, it's incredible." My heart soared. Finally someone believed in me. "I was hoping we could do this together," I said. "You have the business connections and the money, while I have the creative vision and the work ethic. We'd be partners." Her eyes flickered with something I couldn't read. "How much would it cost to start?" "About $60,000. It will cover office space, equipments, and insurance, enough to survive the first 6 months while we build our client's base." 60,000 might as well have been 6 million to me. I had $800 in my checking account, and crushing student loan debt. "Let me look everything over," she said, standing up. "But Rachel, this is really good work." She left with my entire portfolio, every strategy, and every mock-up I'd created. And I never saw her again. Well, not the way I expected. 3 weeks of silence, 2 ignored texts, and 1 super busy, "I will call soon," that meant nothing. Then came that rainy Tuesday that turned everything. I was walking past a new office building in Fremont when I saw a sign going up above the entrance. Elevate Marketing Studio. There's no way it was a coincidence. Through the glass windows, I saw her. It was Vanessa, directing furniture movers like she owned the place, which apparently she did. I pushed through the door, the bell rang and Vanessa turned. For half a second, she looked guilty, then her face smoothed into a smile. "Rachel, I was literally about to call you." "What is this?" I interrupted. "It's my new business. I took your advice about the marketing industry. Isn't it amazing?" My stomach dropped. "Vanessa, this was my idea. We were supposed to do this together." She looked confused, genuinely confused. "We talked about marketing in general. You can't own an industry, Rachel, and honestly, I wasn't sure you were serious about the partner thing because you don't have any real business experience." A furniture mover glanced over. Vanessa's smile tightened. "Let's talk in private." In her glass office, furnished better than my entire apartment, she crossed her arms. "Look, I get that you're upset, but be realistic. My dad's business partners are investing in this. They need credentials to see financial stability and leadership potential. You don't have any of that. I created this entire concept. And it's a great concept, which is why I want to hire you." I felt sick. "Come work for me, $40,000 a year with full benefits. You can do all the creative work without the stress of running a business." "You're offering me a job?" "This was supposed to be my company." "Look, Rachel, be honest with yourself." Her voice turned cold. "You are broke, you don't have connections, and you can barely afford your apartment. But with your talent, you can come work for me, create amazing campaigns, and actually get paid for it. Isn't that better than struggling alone?" The words hit like a punch, because she was right about one thing. I was desperately, terrifyingly broke, and $40,000 sounded like a fortune. "If I do this," I said slowly, "I want credit for my work." "Of course," her smile returned. "Rachel, you're my cousin, I would never cut you out." That was the first lie. There would be many more. The first year was okay. I created campaigns, designed strategies, and built brands from nothing. Vanessa would present them with me standing beside her, introducing me as our brilliant creative director. The work was good, and the paycheck was steady. Then things started changing. My name stopped appearing on presentation slides. Clients began emailing Vanessa directly, thanking her for her vision and her innovative ideas. I wasn't even copied. When I mentioned it, she waved it off, saying, "It's easier for clients to have one contact person." She hired more staff and suddenly I wasn't the creative director anymore. I was just part of the creative team. When I asked for a raise after 18 months, she looked pained. "We're still building the business, Rachel. Everyone's making sacrifices. Don't be selfish. Maybe next year." Next year never came. By year 3, I was making $42,000 while Vanessa drove a BMW and vacationed in Bali. The campaigns I created won awards with only her name on them. Business magazines featured her as rising marketing star. I wasn't mentioned anywhere. But the money and credit weren't even the worst parts, it was how she treated me. She talked over me in meetings, dismissed my suggestions, then presented the same ideas days later as her own. She'd email me passive-aggressive notes about professionalism if I took a sick day, while she took 3-hour lunches. Once, during a staff meeting, she actually snapped her fingers at me. "Rachel, get me coffee, 2 sugars." Like I was her assistant. I made the coffee, told myself it was fine, the job was secure and I needed the income, but every day, a little more of me disappeared. 7 years, that's how long it took before I finally woke up. My best friend Laura was the one who saw through my excuses. To catch up, we met for drinks at a bar on a Friday night. She called the campaign her baby in the presentation, I said, staring into my margarita. I spent 4 months on that concept, and she presented it like she thought of it in the shower. Laura, a lawyer who took exactly zero nonsense from anyone, looked ready to throw something. 7 years of this, Rachel, when are you going to do something? What can I do? I don't have options. You always have options. Do you have proof, documentation that you created the work? Everything's on the company server, timestamped. Then use it, go to the clients directly, maybe, just do something. I shook my head. You are occupied, and I can't afford a solid lawyer. If I make waves, she'll fire me, then I'll have nothing. You already have nothing, Laura's voice rose. You're talented, Rachel, but you're letting her erase you because you're scared. How long are you going to disappear for a paycheck? I didn't answer, but that night lying in bed, I thought for long. I thought about calling my mom to tell her everything, but we'd never been close. She'd raised me alone after my dad died, always stressed, always distant. And then there was Aunt Catherine, Vanessa's mother, who lived in a mansion on Mercer Island, and looked down on us like we were dirt. My mom just took it, every snide remark, every condescending smile. When Vanessa started Elevate Marketing, Aunt Catherine threw a launch party at their mansion. My mom attended, gushing about Vanessa's brilliance. I'd been there too, serving drinks to investors who thought I was hired help. My mom never asked if I was okay with any of it, so no, I couldn't talk to her. I was alone, or so I thought. Everything exploded on a Wednesday morning in March. Vanessa burst into the workspace, phone in hand. Emergency meeting, conference room now. We filed in. She stood at the head of the table. Cascade Ridge just confirmed that our final presentation is Monday. If we land this, it's a $3 million contract. This is the one that makes us national. Everyone cheered. My stomach twisted because I knew exactly what would happen. My work, her name, again. After the meeting, I walked past her office. The door was open, she was on the phone with her mother. I know, Mom, the athlete authenticity concept is genius. I came up with it after watching the Olympics. It's going to revolutionize sports marketing. My athlete authenticity concept that I had spent months developing? I pulled out my phone and texted Laura. At Laura's apartment that night, we planned it all. Gather every piece of evidence you have, she said, every timestamped document, then contact Cascade Ridge directly before the presentation. I grew cold feet again. I can't. Yes, you can, Rachel. If they knew they were about to pay millions for stolen work, don't you think they'd want to know? You have proof, use it. She and her mom will destroy me. She's already destroying you. Laura grabbed my shoulders. Don't you want to be free? So I went home, opened my laptop and got to work. I'd been keeping records since the last time with Laura. Every file I created had my name in the metadata, and every email showed my original concept. At 2 a.m, I started writing an email to Cascade Ridge's chief marketing officer. I kept it simple and attached proofs. My finger hovered over send. This was it. Once I sent this, there was no going back. My job would be gone and Vanessa would come after me with everything she had. Then I thought about 7 wasted years of my life, and I hit send. My phone rang the next morning, unknown number. Ms. Morgan? This is Sarah Park, CMO at Cascade Ridge. My heart hammered. I've reviewed your email, and the documentation. These are serious allegations, but your evidence seems solid. Can you come to our office today? come alone, and don't tell anyone at Elevate. Yes, I'll be there. I called in sick. Vanessa sent a nasty text about professionalism and letting the team down. I put on my best suit and drove downtown. The receptionist led me to a conference room, where Sarah Park waited with 2 executives and a lawyer. They verified everything. When I finished my story, the creative director looked furious. I've been in this industry 25 years, I've seen credit theft before, but this is different. This is systematic fraud that's not just unethical, it's criminal. The CFO turned to the lawyer. Our options? We can terminate the preliminary agreement with Elevate, we haven't signed the final contract. He looked at me. We could offer you a direct consulting contract instead. My breath caught. What? You created the work, Sarah said simply. Why would we pay Vanessa for your ideas? We want the actual talent. After this, you'll either be fired from Elevate or quit. The lawyer leaned forward. Are you ready to stand behind your work publicly? Because Vanessa won't take this easily. I'm ready, I replied with no hesitation. The contract we were negotiating with Elevate was $3 million over 2 years. We'll offer you $2.5 million for this same timeline. However, the CFO added, we want to handle this carefully. Vanessa's scheduled to present to our board on Monday at 2 p.m. We'd like you there. You want me to confront her? We want you to address the matter in our presence, Sarah said. Our board deserves to see who they're really dealing with. It was brutal, but it was perfect. What happened the next few days was almost satisfying. Vanessa called over and over again. I sent every call to voicemail, and the emails to the trash. I used to jump every time she called, not anymore. The weekend was torture. I barely slept because I knew what was coming. Monday was the day everything would either fall into place or fall apart. Monday came too fast. I arrived at Cascade Ridge at 1:30, trying not to throw up from nerves. Ready? Sarah asked, leading me to the boardroom. No, I thought, but I'm doing it anyway. The boardroom was massive, with 8 board members around a huge table. I took a seat against the wall, trying to be invisible. Old habits. At exactly 2 p.m., Vanessa swept in, designer dress, perfect hair. Then she saw me, her steps faltered, confusion crossed her face, then annoyance. Rachel, what are you doing here? Sarah stood. Ms. Price, please sit, we have some questions before your presentation. Vanessa sat slowly, eyes darting. Questions about what? About authorship, the CFO said. We've received information that the campaign you've been presenting wasn't actually created by you. Color drained from Vanessa's face. That's ridiculous, who told you that? I did, I said calmly. She whipped around. She caught herself, remembering where she was. She turned back to the board with a smooth smile. I think there's been a misunderstanding. Rachel is just a member of my creative team, and like everyone else, she contributed, but the strategy is mine. Interesting, the creative director said, opening a laptop. She turned it to show her my original files. Vanessa's smile didn't waver. Those are working drafts. The team creates rough concepts, and I refine them into polished strategies. Really? The lawyer pulled out a thick folder. We also have documents showing the final presentations you showed us are identical to Rachel's original files, not similar. She works for me, Vanessa said, an edge creeping into her voice. Everything she creates is company property. That would be true, Sarah said, if you'd created the company legitimately, but Rachel has shown us proof that Elevate Marketing was her idea. Vanessa laughed, but it sounded wrong. This is insane, Rachel, what are you doing? Trying to sabotage us because you're jealous? I'm not jealous, I said, standing. I'm tired of being robbed by you. I gave you a job, a salary, you'd be nothing without me, she yelled. No, I said, you'd be nothing without me. The only thing you've created is the lie that you're talented. Her mask cracked. You signed an employment contract, she hissed. Actually, the lawyer interrupted, we're not working with Elevate anymore, we're contracting directly with Rachel, so you're out. Vanessa stared. You can't do that, we have an agreement. We have a preliminary agreement that hasn't been executed, we're within our rights to terminate, he smiled coldly. We're also considering legal action for fraud. You misrepresented authorship, and that's prosecutable. My lawyer will handle this. Your lawyer will tell you to settle quietly, Sarah said, because if this goes public, you're finished. Every client will have questions and every award will be scrutinized. Is that what you want? For the first time since I'd known her, I saw fear in Vanessa's eyes. Rachel, please, don't do this, we can work out a better arrangement. It's too late, Vanessa. She grabbed her bag and stormed out, heels clicking sharply on the floor. After she left, the CFO smiled at me. Welcome to Cascade Ridge, Ms. Morgan. But the war was just beginning. My phone led up to my mom's call. As I headed home, against my better judgment, I answered. Rachel Elizabeth Morgan, what have you done? I took back what was mine. Catherine just called me hysterical. Vanessa's talking about lawsuits and having you arrested. Mom, Vanessa stole from me. Still doesn't mean you should humiliate her. There it was, the automatic defense of Aunt Catherine's daughter. Fix this, Rachel, you're destroying her career over resentment. Catherine is devastated. Of course, she cared about Catherine's feelings, never mine. I hung up and blocked her number. Industry blogs carried the reports, and speculations ran wild. Vanessa's empire began crumbling. But she wasn't done fighting. 6 weeks after my victory at Cascade Ridge, my mom called. I'd unblocked her number a few days earlier. Rachel, you need to come to Catherine's house now. Please, it's important. Then she hung up. I knew it was a trap, but something in her voice made me go. Aunt Catherine's mansion on Mercer Island had a way of making me feel small. My mom answered the door, pale and tense. She led me to the formal living room, where Aunt Catherine sat like a queen with Vanessa beside her, eyes red from crying. A man in an expensive suit stood near the fireplace. This is Mr. Davidson, our attorney, Aunt Catherine said, scanning me. We're giving you a chance to make this right, Vanessa said. Drop the Cascade contract, come back to Elevate, sign an NDA, and let's forget this happened. I laughed. You're joking. Do I look like I'm joking? You destroyed my reputation. You're sabotaging everything I built. Everything you stole, you mean? Aunt Catherine stood. I know you've always been jealous of Vanessa. You couldn't handle her success, so you invented this fantasy. I have evidence. Evidence can be fabricated. Mr. Davidson opened his briefcase. We're pursuing legal action for breach of contract, theft of proprietary information, and defamation. Combined damages, $5 million. $5 million? I didn't even have 5,000. You can't afford to fight us, Vanessa said confidently, so sign this. She slid papers across the table, and go back to being a team player. I looked at the papers. They wanted me to admit to wrongdoing. No. Rachel, my mom started. No, I said louder, I'm not signing anything. Sue me if you want. Aunt Catherine's face twisted. You ungrateful parasite, after everything Vanessa did for you. Your daughter didn't do anything for me. I made for the door. If you walk out, Mr. Davidson said, we file Monday morning. See you in court. Rachel, wait, my mother's voice stopped me, but I didn't turn around. Maybe you should just sign it, find another job later. This fighting is tearing the family apart. There it was again, my mother choosing her sister's approval over her daughter. You were always a disappointment, Rachel. Aunt Catherine's voice dripped with venom. Just like your mother, no drive, no ambition, always the victim. I warned Vanessa about you, but she didn't listen. The words didn't hurt anymore. I've heard versions of them my whole life, but then something unexpected happened. Don't you dare, Catherine, my mom's voice, fierce and unlike anything I'd ever heard from her. She walked closer, facing her sister. Aunt Catherine's eyebrows shot up in shock. You don't get to talk to my daughter that way. That is unacceptable. The room went silent. For years, I've listened to you criticize Rachel. Everything she did was a problem to you. I stayed quiet because you're my sister, and I didn't want problems. But I'm done being a coward. Diane, you're being ridiculous. And you are delusional, Catherine, my mother yelled. I'm ashamed I actually let you convince Rachel that she should be grateful for scraps. I know Rachel didn't steal anything. It's that good-for-nothing Vanessa of yours who's the thief. Catherine, I dare you to frustrate my child again. My mom walked over and hugged me tightly, whispering apologies. Aunt Catherine looked like she'd been slapped. Get out of my house, both of you. My mom squeezed my hand as we walked out together. We sat in her car in the driveway, rain pattering the windshield. I don't expect you to forgive me, she finally said. I know I've failed you probably your whole life. Yeah, I said, you have. She nodded, wiping her eyes. Catherine's money and status always made me feel inferior, because I was just the struggling single mother with the tiny apartment, so I let her walk over me, and you too. I am sorry. If they sue you, we'll figure things out together, she said, squeezing my hands. I just stared at her, silent. Though it wasn't forgiveness yet, but it was something. The lawsuit came as promised. I called Laura, who got me a lawyer from her firm. They don't have a case, my attorney said after reviewing everything. Your documentation is perfect, but they're betting you can't afford to fight. Which was true. He advised I countersue for fraud, wage theft, and intellectual property violations, so we filed on Wednesday. Industry gossip exploded, the story spread like wildfire. The following Monday, Mr. Davidson called with a settlement offer. Drop everything, everyone walks away. I refused. I want a public admission that I created the work Vanessa claimed, and compensation for 7 years of theft. That won't happen. Then see you in court. The trial never happened. They did what I asked, probably because more damage was happening to Vanessa's reputation than they'd predicted. Clients were canceling contracts and partners were backing out. By March, Elevate had lost 80% of its business. Vanessa closed the office and laid off everyone. I won. Morgan Creative Group launched on April 1st, perfect timing, for all the years I'd been playing the fool. I rented a small office and hired 2 amazing designers who'd left Elevate. Within 2 weeks, I had 5 inquiries. Within 6 weeks, 3 signed contracts. The Cascade campaign launched in May. It went viral in under 48 hours, and by week's end, major magazines had featured it. My name was on everything: creative director and founder, boldly, not Vanessa's shadow. Interview requests flooded in, speaking invitations and award nominations. I accepted everything, because for the first time in my life, I had the attention. 2 years after the Cascade confrontation, I got a call from Startup Magazine for a major profile feature. The interview ran in August and changed my life in the most incredible ways. 7 years later, I was no longer the cowardly Rachel. Now I took up space, brilliantly so. I had began building the life we were ridiculed for, though. My relationship with my mom was still complicated, but we made progress. Morgan Creative Group now had 15 employees and clients in 8 states, 5 industry awards sat on my shelf, and 3 conference speaking invitations for next year. In all of that, I learned something important. Your place isn't where someone puts you, it's where you choose to stand, and I was standing in the spotlight, where I belonged all along. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments.